Welcome back to Hardball. Federal authorities have warned local law enforcement about the risk of possible terror attacks this holiday weekend. Officials say there's no specific threat out there, but they say this year is different than previous years thanks to the rise of ISIS. In fact, last week, a spokesman for ISIS called on its followers to carry out attacks during Ramadan. Well, there was a scare in Washington today as local and federal security officials rushed to the Navy Yard after a worker reported what she thought was gunfire. The premises were swept by officers, but they found no evidence of a shooting. Meanwhile, in England, U.S. Air Force officials over there have canceled July 4th events at a Royal Air Force base due to what they called local threat assessments. Meanwhile, back home, the concern is especially acute in places like here in Washington and in New York, where massive crowds are expected to descend for fireworks shows. Anyway, NBC's Savannah Guthrie got a rare glimpse this week into the security operation the New York Police Department uses to protect that city, including a look at one of the department's intelligence nerve centers.
Here, officers work 24/7, monitoring images feeding in from thousands of security cameras around the city. On the streets, ready to respond within minutes, the NYPD's so-called Hercules teams are heavily armed and on the move. They travel with officers specially trained and equipped to detect any radiological weapons, also known as dirty bombs. And with barges for the fireworks already in place, radiation-detecting speedboats patrol the waterways.
This whole waterway will be shut down.
But we got a real sense of the job Chief Waters and his officers handled when we took to the skies. In choppers equipped with cameras so powerful they can zoom into street level, a key intelligence tool.
For more, I'm joined by NBC News Justice Correspondent Pete Williams. Pete, how do we put it all together, the threat here, perhaps by lone wolves of the ISIS variety?
That is the big concern because, of course, it's almost impossible to track them all. And ISIS is reaching out in the last 6 months, has sort of changed its tactics, the officials say, reaching out to a much younger audience, people who are under 25, especially under 21, even juveniles. And they work this aggressively. They have, thousands and thousands of these social media tweets that come in every day. They try to befriend these people, persuade them to come across to ISIS. The 4th of July weekend has always been, since 9/11, something of concern because of the symbolic nature of it. But it is different this year because of two factors. The one, this additional threat of ISIS. And secondly, the fact that it comes during Ramadan, when ISIS has separately said people ought to be thinking about attacking the West.
How do they take aggressive steps? Is it rounding up the usual suspects? How do you go out and try to reduce the number of potential lone wolves?
Excellent question, and you're right, that is part of it. We've seen something like a dozen or so arrests in the last month. These are people who have been under surveillance and that the FBI or local police believe were on the verge of taking action. But there still are hundreds of people who are under surveillance around the country. The FBI has said it has active investigations in every state. So that's part of it. Trying to keep your eyes on the people that are worrisome because they have come to your attention, but the real heartburn is over the people that haven't come to their attention, that might be sitting there in the basement and thinking about doing something. And then the other part of it is the big police presence. NYPD says it'll be the largest police presence for the 4th of July in that city's history. We'll have a more visible presence here in Washington. A similar message from police around the country. But their other message is this, Chris. They don't want people to get freaked out by this. One purported ISIS supporter said today, Americans are terrified now of the 4th of July. That's not the response that they want here. They want people to show up for these events, have confidence in the police presence, but be alert. And if they see something suspicious, report it.
Well said. Thanks so much. NBC's Pete Williams. Have a happy 4th of July, sir.